Well, it reads like a classic organized crime shakedown. Shorn of its rambling character and in not so many words, this is the essence of what the president communicates. We've been very good to your country, very good. No other country has done as much as we have. But you know what? I don't see much reciprocity here. I hear what you want. I have a favor I want from you, though. And I'm going to say this only 7 times, so you better listen good. I want you to make up dirt on my political opponent, understand lots of it. On this and on that, I'm going to put you in touch with people, and not just any people. I'm going to put you in touch with Attorney General of the United States, my Attorney General, Bill Barr. He's got the whole weight of the American law enforcement behind him. And I'm going to put you in touch with Rudy. You're going to love him, trust me. You know what I'm asking, and so I'm only going to say this a few more times, in a few more ways. And by the way, don't call me again. I'll call you when you've done what I asked. This is, in character, what the president was trying to communicate.
In character, the president clearly outraged, fired back on Twitter. Rep. Adam Schiff totally made up my conversation with Ukraine's president and read it to Congress in millions. He must resign and be investigated. He's been doing this for 2 years. He is a sick man. All right, to discuss the latest developments, we're joined by Ned Ryun. He's the GOP strategist and CEO of American Majority, and David Katz, the political and legal analyst. David, let's start with you. With this antic, do you think that Adam Schiff has just unnecessarily undermined whatever claim Democrats may have had for any kind of impeachment push?
No, I think that what Adam Schiff was doing is what prosecutors often do. And he and I were actually prosecutors together during the Reagan administration. And what he did was convey the sum and substance of it. He didn't claim that it was a quote. He wanted to dramatize it and make the sum and substance of it. Prosecutors often do that. He didn't say it was in quotation marks. And as Michael Cohen, Trump's longtime lawyer and fixer, described it, this is exactly what Trump does. He speaks in a kind of coded language. He speaks obliquely. And Adam Schiff wanted to make sure it didn't remain oblique for the American public, but you could see what he was trying to convey.
David, but it wasn't accurate, and this is at a hearing. Now, when we're talking about something like impeachment, that you would need high crimes and misdemeanors in order to prove, isn't it important that the Democrats try to keep it as on the up and up as possible, considering that the transcript revealed that there was no quid pro quo? I mean, doesn't this just weaken any credibility that they have?
Oh, Michelle, it clearly shows that there was an implicit quid pro quo. When you prosecute racketeers and fraudsters, you don't
Implicit. All right, Ned, I'll give you a chance to respond.
Okay. They don't often...
I can't even... This is absurd. You have the House Intel chairman, one of the most powerful committees in the U.S. House of Representatives, deciding that his chairmanship is now a platform for parody. This is deeply unserious. It goes along the lines of Rashida Tlaib now selling shirts for $19.99, impeach the mother effer. This is ridiculous, because now you realize the Democrats are trying to build out a case that is extremely weak, extremely thin. There was no quid pro quo. We now see from the complaint that we can now read, I think this is all based on hearsay, and I will go out on a limb and say this. I don't think it was one individual. I think there is a committee and a group of people behind this complaint that was actually filed, which I think is in violation of the U.S. law. Democrats are running down this path of impeachment based on the thinnest of premises. And I have to tell you, when you see today or yesterday polls showing that only 36% of the American people think impeachment and removal is a good idea, this is insane. I think there's going to be blowback. And I actually do think Ukraine-gate could very well be the coup de grace to Joe Biden's presidential run.
All right, David, let's talk about some of this response that this call to impeachment has received. Many legal analysts are saying, look, there's just no legal basis here. Ken Starr, who, as you know, served as independent counsel on the investigation that was used as the basis for the impeachment of President Clinton, he says Democrats moved too quickly here. They didn't even wait to see what was in that actual call, and that it's going to be very difficult to get any of these charges to stick. Do you think the Democrats blew it? Did they move too quickly?
Well, Ken Starr had a much weaker case that he brought forward.
But is there a strong legal case for this, David? I mean, do you really see high crimes and misdemeanor here?
Oh, there are absolutely high crimes and misdemeanors. This was a classic quid pro quo. You know, when a racketeer tries to extort somebody, he doesn't say to them, I'm going to burn down your business if you don't pay me money. He says, nice business here. It would be terrible if something happened to it. There is a transcript. There's going to be a tape. There's more records. Why was it hidden? If it was helpful for the president, why was it hidden? Why was it misclassified, given too high a security rating so that nobody could find it? Thank goodness this whistleblower was a patriot and came forward. And now we know what was buried and hidden by Trump and his minions.
Well, they have been very quick to release the documents. McGuire explained the process there. But Ned, go ahead and respond.
No, I'm just saying, go ahead, Dems, knock yourselves out, chase these ghosts of impeachment. Russiagate fell apart, and now Ukrainegate. The amazing thing is they made Russiagate last for 2 years. I think Ukrainegate might last for 2 weeks. And the fact of the matter is that the thing that's amazing to me is Democrats are going down this path of impeachment. They are putting their members out of, say, Oklahoma 5 and other swing districts. They're going to make them walk the gangplank of impeachment in 2020. And I think it could very well cost them a house. I think Nancy Pelosi went down this path, quite frankly, because I think she was afraid she might lose the speakership. So she's going to win the battle and lose the war, because I think ultimately when Democrats face the voters in November of 2020 based off this stuff, they're going to actually face the wrath of the American people, because this is absurd. This is ridiculous. At some point, we actually have to start acting like normal, civilized people. Elections have results. This is the duly elected president of the United States, and all of this, Russiagate, Ukrainegate, it's all based off policy differences. There's nothing to them. They're all fairy tales.
All right, David, bottom line here. If the House does vote to impeach the president, then the Democrats would meet no more than 20 Republican senators to cross party lines to vote to convict the president and remove him from office. I mean, do you really think that that's likely to happen?
I think it's a real possibility, because I think the evidence is very strong. I think that the obstruction of justice is very clear, as in Watergate. And this Ukrainegate, if it's really so bad for the Democrats, why are the Republicans clutching so much to Trump? They should be happy that the Democrats are self-destructing. I think what's going to actually happen is that the Purple District Democrats are going to win re-election. And I think that many Republican senators, when it's exposed just how tremendous the evidence is of the obstruction of justice and abuse of power here, the implicit quid pro quo, asking for a favor, hinging it on military aid that Ukraine desperately needed to fight Russian aggression. I think a lot of the Republican senators will come around.
That was the same call that the president made regarding all NATO countries, that they need to up their contribution. Ned, we've got a 20 seconds final thoughts.
There was no quid pro quo, and this whole talk of withholding military aid was not discussed until a month after this phone call. And you know what? Donald Trump is exactly right. Everybody at NATO actually should step up to the plate in funding their obligations to NATO. So this is, again, Donald Trump has been talking about this for years. They didn't try to hide the transcript. They did not try to hide the complaint. They have been transparent. And again, I think there's a big nothing burger that Democrats are pursuing at this moment.
It should have been turned over in November. It should have been turned over in August. We're only finding out about it now. What do you mean it wasn't held back?
All right, unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much, Ned, Ryan, David Katz. Appreciate it, and we'll be right back.